You guys hear me now? Press 1 if you guys can hear me now. Bullshit. What in the fuck? What the fuck is going on? I'm still here. It's good. Can you guys hear me? No, 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 no. What the fuck? Says it's live. What the fuck, dude? What the bloody fuck is going on? Stream ended. Oh my god. Hello, hello. You can hear me, press 1. Can you hear me? Press 1. If you hear me, press 1. 1, 2, the 2, the 3, the 4. Now I don't know where the voice is coming from. If it's coming from the phone or if it's coming from this thing. Anyway, what's up, you guys? Thanks for being patient with me. Obviously, this is the first time. Oh shit, I got BGS in here. Now I'm really embarrassed. All I need now is Craig the Tech guy and Angry Man because they up on all this shit. I can be embarrassed. Let's see. Let's see where it's coming from. Hear any better now? Oh, damn. Let's see if it's coming from here. What about now? Any better? Better or worse? Better or worse? I don't know which thing is actually picking up the sound. Better? Okay. Well, that's improvement. Let's see. Volume up on this bitch. Volume all the way up. Oh, what the fuck? Anyway, if you guys can hear me, this thing is irritating the shit out of me because I can't tell where the sound is coming from. Which one is picking up the sound? Is it my phone or is it the other one? Crazy. Like a version is right. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea. What the fuck? Alright, I'm gonna just run it if you guys can hear me. Let's try that. Any better? God damn, y'all ain't shit. Y'all are not, in fact, shit. Sweet. If that's better, hit a 1 so I know the difference because tablet crashed. Or that app crashed for YouTube. I don't know what the hell is going on with that. Okay, now I got some feedback so I know you guys can actually hear me. Alright, so that's better. Hopefully you guys aren't getting any feedback. But what's up? Thanks for showing up. Um, Go ahead and jam. Thank you, BGS. Weapons free. All right, so thank you guys for showing up. Technical difficulties is always a pain in the ass when you're dealing with this kind of stuff. But I'm trying to get it right. I'll get it right eventually. Um, Thanks for showing. This is Shop Talk, and just so people know what's going on, Shop Talk is pretty much an open conversation. No, it's not a panel right now, but if I get this shit right technically, maybe I will actually do a panel. But it's not just about geek stuff. I mean, my concept for Shop Talk is that it always starts with geek stuff, but it always ends up moving into other things because it's wide ranging. Conversation is about the people involved in it, and not just comics or whatnot. So in this setting, I wanted to bring that to YouTube because it's something me and my friends always did in the shop, and just going ahead and having a conversation. And so I went ahead and did that. So got a few topics for today that I wanted to talk about. One of which happened just yesterday, which was on Art of Intmore's stream last night. And it was pretty interesting what happened. I ended up losing my temper, which is not something I usually do, especially not on a YouTube stream. I'm usually muted up in the background, cussing out loud, or just rolling my eyes, trying to get people to stay on topic and get things moving. But last night was just a bit different because I had the same thing too many times, and that's never a good idea. So one of the things that came up was something I've been seeing a lot more recently since the honorable master teacher BGS has stepped down a little bit from hosting the Coliseum. That there have been a lot more panel discussions that have popped up, and it's good because there's a lot of different people getting to express their ideas, and maybe ones you might not have heard before, or some not willing to come into the Coliseum and make their voice heard. But what I've noticed is that there are a lot of people who just, straight up panel surf. They will surf from panel to panel, just basically disrupting the conversation on every panel they freaking go to. And that shit is absolutely annoying to me because as somebody who enjoys panels because I like hearing brothers speak and express their ideas no matter where in the country they are, almost, you know, no difference with their intelligence level, although some can be a little bit harder to listen to than others. I want to hear what brothers have to say. But when I cruise into these chat rooms and, walking through these YouTube streets and seeing what's going on, and then I see the same person on every panel just bogarting the whole panel and turning it into their show on somebody else's show. It just loses the flavor of why I came to this, person's channel in the first place. If you walk into an Italian restaurant and everybody getting there throwing Chinese food around, you can say, "What the fuck is going on? Why don't you have a Chinese food restaurant? And where's the Italian food? I want some fettuccine. I ain't coming here for, some chop suey." But that's that's what I keep seeing happen, and it's kind of annoying. And last night it just kind of crested over because I've been seeing it all week, and it just I'd had my fill of that, so I had to say something. And I was trying to pull Artie Moore's coattail on it just to say that, hey, just try to calm the shit down and stop these folks. But in a sense, I understand that they are, running their show and they're running their panel, and that's why I try not to jump into conversation of telling people what they should be doing on their shows. But understand, I'm an audience member more than I'm a panel guest, and I like seeing the panel talk. If it's six people up there, I want to see six people having something to say. If it's one person on there, I expect that one person to have something to say. But I want to hear everybody's voice in a sense because I'm the audience. I'm an audience before I'm anything else. And I like to hear the exchange of those ideas. I like to see those ideas get hashed out because that's how you get to the real point of the conversation and really touch on some stuff that can actually help brothers and change some lives in a way. But if you got motherfuckers jumping on the panel and they don't know what the hell the conversation is, they don't know what the talking point is, they immediately go, yeah, that's cool, but this is the thing I wanted to talk about. That's a total derailment of the whole conversation. It's like, look. The river is rushing. Now, if you want to try to swim across this motherfucker to the other side, you better be a quick swimmer. Otherwise, get in the stream with the rest of the fish and go the direction that the flow is going. Okay? Because that's what the stream is. The stream is where the conscious thoughts are all merging together and everybody's exchanging all those ideas. If you want to jump in that, jump in it. The water's moving quick. But if you think you're going to be the first person to swim upstream today, look, you got your own stream. Jump there. Take your canoe, get your ass over there, and do it over there. It's very simple. So last night it just crested because, as I told Art last night, I'm an older cat. I've already raised two kids, and my patience is thin. I have a really short patience for ignorance. Really, really short. It don't take no time. And much of the time I hold it back. But last night it was too late in the evening, and I had a drink already. I had, a little flaming Dr. Pepper, and I was already done. So I had to do something different with that. So my thing is just watch that shit. I'm not a fan of people panel jacking and just bringing down the whole level of the conversation because you want somebody to teach a remedial class to you on what the whole topic in the conversation and all the main points are. Go back and listen to the archives because they still up. Go back and do that shit. Until then, sit in the classroom and just listen for a while. Then, if you actually have something intelligent to say, step up in front of the class and make your voice be heard when you are aware of what's going on in that context. Otherwise, you're just wasting the panel's time, you're wasting everybody else's time that's on there. Because some of these shows, they may be impromptu or they may be just a once a week thing. If I've waited all week to listen to this real good conversation with brothers, why the hell do I want to listen to you talking and not knowing what the hell is going on for an hour, 30 minutes, fucking 10 minutes? It don't take me very long for that shit. My patience is short. So that's it. That's my idea on that. It's just like, be respectful of other people's platforms and their channels and other guests. If you jump on a panel, there's other people that want to actually get their 2 cents into. So since this is YouTube and you're not necessarily booting everybody off the panel that you don't feel like talking to, just be respectful. That's all my main thing is. Give the same respect you want to get back from folks, and it should work a little fine. Next thing on my list with the now that I got that derailing stuff off, because trust and believe that shit irritated me to no end trying to go to sleep last night. But I'll go to that last. The next one is all this stuff that's on Star Wars that I was seeing yesterday and the rest of this week about what's going on with LucasArts and whatnot. And if you saw my video, my shop talk with Joe Herb on Shatterpoint and stuff like that, we end up talking about a little bit on the Star Wars franchise and LucasArts and what's going on with Kathleen Kennedy and all that stuff there. Now, trust and believe there are four more shop talks on that I have to edit. And it's not just with me and Joe Herb, but it's other people talking about Rise of Skywalker, whatever. Only problem is they just long. They just long and they funny as hell when I listen to them because everybody going in on this shit. It's like a feeding frenzy. But the thing that I've noticed the most this week is all the shit that's coming out about, trying to be under wraps about Kathleen Kennedy getting ushered out of, LucasArts and whatnot, right? I can see your comments. I'm just not reading all of them at the moment. Did I miss something? I'm sorry. The people that said I got 12 people watching. That's awesome. Salute to everybody that came through. I'm sorry, you know, stream of consciousness and whatnot, but I see your comments. Low key something lately. Angry Man exposed him. Yeah, Angry Man did expose him. Serious Killmonger. Art Beats. My Art Beat brothers, thank you for showing up. But just to get back on the point real quick, the whole thing with Kathleen Kennedy getting ushered out of there, they're trying to do it quietly. One of two interesting things that I've heard from this recently. First thing is that I was I was listening to this report about Rian Johnson being the whole problem with The Last Jedi, that it was all his fault and everything else. And it's interesting how the commentary was coming out. It was like they were really throwing him under the bus. That Disney or whoever was really trying to throw him under the bus and blame everything on him. And but one of the things that was key that they said was how he wasn't an experienced enough director. And I said that in my commentary on The Rise of Skywalker, that he wasn't a strong enough director to go up against Kathleen Kennedy, who, as many other people have said, was making rewrites and stuff like that on the set while they were shooting. So in that sense, yeah, he's the director, but if your executive or a producer or whoever is telling you this is what the change is, and you don't have enough clout to stand up to that shit, then yeah, that's on her. But you end up taking a bullet for it, and that's what I saw. They threw this dude, down in front of the bus and back Mickey's Happy Car all up over his ass. It's kind of messed up because he's going to take the stain for that while she's in the background, getting booted out the back door and trying to keep her, dignity or pride and ego intact and not get sullied with this as much as she has been. But trust and believe that was her. That was mostly her shit. I saw Knives Out, and that's a Rian Johnson movie, and I believe he made that after Last Jedi. Knives Out wasn't bad. It was entertaining. It had some comedy beats in it. It pretty much worked. So, what the hell happened with Last Jedi? Why didn't I see the same stuff that I saw in Last Jedi in Knives Out? Because it wasn't him. That was her. So while she's getting kicked out the back door and kicking up a fuss and like some of the masculine mercenaries may say, kicking up her dirty back feet, you she's just trying to throw some people under the bus. I heard that she was trying to go at kind of Filoni and Favreau because they have barred her from the set of The Mandalorian 2 and don't want her input, and she kind of pissed about that shit. And I'm like, it worked better without your ass there. So why be involved now? This is like the traditional Hollywood executive decision bullshit where you make something really good that nobody thought was going to be that, and then all of a sudden They saw it made some money. Now everybody got 2 cents they want to throw in the cup on what should be done and how it should be done because now they want to make money off of it and they want their face attached to it. And that's no different than I see with most failings in women or people nowadays is that they always want to be smiling with the trophy at the end, but they don't want to put in the work in the beginning. So that's a problem for me. It ends up being a real issue. So the other thing that I found that was interesting was that Bob Iger is leaving next year, which is like mind blowing for me, is because Bob Iger has been the one who has come into Disney and actually saved all that stuff. He was behind buying Marvel. He was behind buying the Star Wars franchise and bringing that stuff into Disney and bringing Disney back to some, profitability. I think also Pixar. He was also behind the Pixar deal, I believe. So he's done a lot of good for Disney and brought a lot of those favorite franchise into the House of Mouse and actually propped them up so you can continue to see them. But he's leaving now, and that kind of concerns me because if you take any time to watch Disney Plus, there's a documentary on there about Imagineering, right? And it goes through the history of Disney from Walt Disney all the way up to Bob Iger coming in, right? And you can see how Disney performed and how each CEO did a little bit differently with that company. Some failures, some successes, but they tried different stuff. But what you can also see is how when Bob Iger came in, he actually resurrected that shit a bit. That he really helped that company, right? So if he's behind Disney getting these properties and they're gone, and he's behind to having, Favreau and Filoni and all the rest of these people and giving them the go ahead to do what they did. I also gave Kathleen Kennedy to go ahead to do what she did, but she kind of got her way in with George Lucas on that. So whatever. I get kind of concerned with what happens after he's gone because I can see him pushing her out the door before he's gone. Like that's his last bit of business to take care of before he's out the door completely. But I don't know who's waiting in the wings to take his place and what their goals and what their ideas on this stuff is going to be, you know. But as long as she's still out the door, I'm happy because I'm telling you, that's a Judas. She she go way back to George Lucas to the first movie, the first Star Wars movie where she was there helping him, and to take his baby and do what she did to it, it's just like basically she took his kid and dressed it up in a dress, painted his toenails and all the rest of that shit, and said no, he's going to represent as a girl. He identifies as a female now. That's what she did with his Star Wars baby, and it's not cool. And that's why he is actually back in the fold at LucasArts, trying to resurrect that shit because she almost single handedly killed that entire fucking franchise, and Disney couldn't take that. You don't pay that much money to shoot the goose that laid the golden egg. You don't. That's the dumbest move you could ever make. If I got a goose that lays its golden egg, it's gonna be on a plush pillow, anything it need, and keep shitting out this money for me. Not slitting his throat and making pate out of it. That's freaking stupid. So Bob Iger leaving is concerning, but the way he's setting up stuff right now with Kevin Feige coming on board to help the Star Wars movies and stuff like that, that could be a better thing. It could be, more helpful that he's coming on because I guess he has the same mind state or he actually gives a fuck about these characters. And then Filoni and Favreau and Lucas obviously care about the Star Wars universe too. And they are fans, so they will do their due diligence in trying to make sure it's something that all the fans can enjoy and not just push some bullshit narrative with a popular vehicle, So for that's actually worrisome, but there's some hope on the horizon in a sense. I hate to use hope when I'm talking about Star Wars. It just seems stupid. Um, The next part was just next stream of consciousness was the derailing. And the derailing in the media right now. And I hit on this last night on Art's panel, is that we should still be talking about Kobe and Gail and Susan. Snoop Dogg apologizing, everybody knows what that was. It's not a big deal. But I think we missed the opportunity to hold these people feet to the fire. Because as BGS has stated, you know, the gynocracy Skeletor mask was ripped off and you saw what the hell it was. Bold face. Bold fucking face for everybody to see. And the way that conversation shifted immediately from, you know, a political, I would say operative, but threatening a regular citizen to black men just being drugged, even at the time of their death. And moving it on to, oh, look, Dwayne Wade has his toenails painted and all the rest of the shit. Who gives a fuck about that? I care nothing about Dwayne Wade and how he dressed and how his toenails is painted. That is not my damn concern. I am concerned about how these black men get drugged through the media all the time. But I think it was a really clever way, a pretty clever bit of social engineering, how they moved the whole herd of people who were pissed off about what was going on with this, with this woman in political power threatening a regular citizen and getting him to shut his damn mouth and sit down in a corner somewhere, and him having to come out and apologize and all the rest of that shit, to steering the focus back to the alphabet community and what they want you to be thinking about. Even though the image that they're throwing up there is still just what they want to see, an effeminized black man. You know, I mean, what works to that narrative even more than having this big, strong, athletic dude with the dresses and the toenails and shit. The last dumb thing I saw was I can't remember that dude's name, but he had the tuxedo dress bullshit. How he's gonna be on Sesame Street this year? Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with Sesame Street? What do kids need to know about that? And why are you hosting it for the year? Get the fuck out of here. It's like a concerted effort to get these kids younger and younger, to confuse them with something they even mentally, they don't have the mental capacity to even understand yet. It's like, I don't know. It's agonizing. It's agonizing to no fucking end. And for me personally, and I was talking about this in the shop this week with my boy Ali, I don't give a fuck what people do. Personally, sexually, you do whatever the hell you want to do. Because I'm growing up in the real sex era. You know, I'm an old cat. I'm a Gen Xer. They start throwing a whole bunch of sex stuff on TV that we saw growing up and whatnot that I was not ready to see. I can tell you that now. I got a granddaughter. If she saw that shit, I'd be, you know, kicking the TV over, you know, trying to get her some counseling because it's going to be scarring. It's going to be something that just blows her mind and she ain't ready for that, right? But I don't care what people do in the privacy of their own home. And you having a personal bent on, you know, what you think sexuality could be or everybody should accept, to me that's not acceptance. You're trying to make everybody like you so you don't have to feel so strange about it. Right? It's like that syndrome thing from The Incredibles. Everybody's super, nobody is super. You're trying to justify it. And if you can justify it in yourself and that's the way you want to live your life, why are you stressed and pressing so hard to get these kids to accept it too? You know, to me that says that you know your position is really fucking weak. And you're trying to run to the most defenseless people you can find to push that narrative on them so they believe it. And doing it earlier and earlier and earlier. Sesame Street, the fuck out of here. I grew up on Sesame Street. Now there was some stuff in there as I got older and realized, yeah, Ernie and Bert was gay. All right, what the fuck? But you ain't seeing Ernie and Bert talking about it, are you? know? Oscar the Grouch lived alone, but Oscar the Grouch knew what the hell was going on. What the fuck? So this need for pushing all this extra sexuality on younger and younger children and pushing this narrative with black faces in front of it is really disturbing. It's beyond disturbing, and it's like some kind of psychological issue. And I'm not going to diagnose it, but it is a damn problem. And for me, it's just that 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 is not a good position. It's not a good position. You should have, in fact, not actually been doing what you're doing, because if you're comfortable with what it is you're doing, you don't have to proclaim it to any damn body. I mean, I'm fond of telling people I'm a card carrying lesbian because I love women, love me some women. But I don't have to proclaim that shit to everybody. I don't have to make everybody else accept it. That's not how that shit works. If it's your personal choice, keep it personal, right? But I don't have to accept your personal choice. You know why? I don't have to live in your delusion. I'm living in the real world. It's just what it is. So I don't know. Some of this shit gets really fucking ridiculous, and I just watch it and make my observations and make my thoughts and turn around to my children and the folks I know. It's like, okay, here's the game plan. Here's how you're gonna survive this shit. This is how you're gonna survive this gauntlet because these motherfuckers is nuts out here. Okay, it's either that or you're gonna have to be in charge of these crazy motherfuckers because you're gonna have to wrangle. You're gonna have to wrangle these zombies because I want my seeds to survive. And if the world is turning into a bunch of sheep, then I'm gonna teach them how to be shepherds. And if the world is turning into zombies, then I'm gonna show them how to work a machete because you don't have to reload it. That's just what it's gonna be. So I wouldn't say it's very black pill of me, but I do have a hopeful view and a dim view at the same time. I see younger people that get it, but I also see enough generations ahead of them that they're gonna have to die off before you get a chance to prove that you got it. They're gonna have to go away, and you're gonna have to be patient. That's just what it's gonna be. It's like watching the waves come in California. So if you see them surfers out there, they may sit on their board for a minute watching the horizon and looking at them waves till they find the ones that they can ride into shore. But they don't jump on everyone. They jump on that right one. You got to be patient. And sometimes that's what I see in the society is what's happening. It's just waves of fucking bullshit. Some of them you can stand up to. Some of them you need to get their ass out the water or get to the beach because it might be a tsunami. And this one is just that, a freaking wave of crap. But that's it on that. It's just I want people to understand. Don't keep biting these hooks that they get to pull you away from focusing on what's really important and what really needs to be addressed. That straight up bold faced misandry that you saw on television with Susan Rice and Gayle King, that shit needs to be addressed because you've had an opportunity to really hold people's feet to the fire and make them accountable for that shit. Stop worrying about Dwayne Wade. It don't matter what the hell he's doing, what's going on with his kid. That's some shit he need to address himself between him and his lady. And I don't even follow both of them because I don't give a shit. But that shit that was happening with the government, you need to pay attention to that. It's happening in the media. You need to pay attention to that shit. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe and start running after the next car that passed you on the street. So what? You did this. So what? What's going on with the Susan Rice and this Gayle King and this Kobe situation? Because that was some bullshit. And somebody needs to be accountable for that shit. CBS, Oprah, somebody in government. From what I understand, Susan Rice was already in some hot water. So she don't need to be saying shit about anybody. So maybe we need to be focusing on that because I would hate to see that kind of bold faced disrespect go unchallenged and unchecked and not get his day like we saw this Ados kind of get faded away. You know, I don't like that. So, but that's my 2 cents. So those are my 3 points that I came up with just for this first show outside of the technical difficulties. But would have been nice to have a panel, but maybe next time get that computer finished working. Was not. But if you guys got some questions in the chat, I'm looking at it and I can actually answer those in real time for you. I got my coffee, so my brain is working at the right speed today. So, you got them? Throw them in the chat and I'll see what you guys got. Dr. Spawn, Al Simmons, was Spawn's mother white? I don't recall her mother being white unless that's something that happened in the 300 new issues. But Al Simmons has always been black. I don't even remember them going into his mother and father. But there was a Spawn, the Tim Dowling Spawn. I definitely could say his mama was white. But the Al Simmons Spawn, no, I do not believe his mother was white. But that's just me. I don't think that's a big deal. It's a fictional character any fucking way. So if it was white, blue, or octamaroon, it didn't matter. Al Simmons is a badass character, and Spawn kicks ass. So that's what I call it. Let's see. What else y'all got in here? Wish I understood how to give people these moderator privileges right off the bat. That make it a little bit easier. Oh, there we go. Oh, new style. You have been modded, sir. Let's see. Grinch in this bitch. Grinch gotta be a mod. Hey, nothing like having a Kraken in the chat room. I tell you that much. That shit, that'll calm shit down a lot. I'm just saying. And I got respect for the brother because trust and believe at his age, and what he's done, for what he's come from, that's I applaud you. I've been talking about wanting to write a book for fucking years. This motherfucker, I've known him about 2-3 years. He did it, and that's it. It's out. It's out there. I'm waiting for the next one. So we shall see on that. Where it was B to the G to the S. Bam. So that's it. That's about 30-40 minutes. I don't see any questions coming. Oh, what is this? Art of Fort. What's my thoughts on MK11 Spawn? I haven't even seen that Art of Fort. I saw a trailer on PlayStation the other day for MK11, and I saw they were bringing back some other characters, Bo Raicho and some other stuff. I don't like the way it looks necessarily, though. What's up, Grinch? Something about it doesn't look right. It looks too shiny or some shit. I don't know. I don't know if it was the trailer or the time of day that I was watching it, but I didn't like the way it looked. It made me want to go back and buy MK2 more than buy number 11. You know, but that's just me. I don't know. I'm weird when it comes to games nowadays. Like I am a gamer. I play a lot of different fucking games. And video games is one of those things I get picky on, but as I got older, I transitioned out of playing a lot of different types of games because they just keep coming out with the same type. Be it, tournament fighter, first person shooter, RPG, action. I like a good adventure game. I love a good RPG game, but I ain't playing a lot of tournament fighters. This is fucking irritating to me. I grew up on them. I saw them when they came in. I like my favorites, and then that was it. That was it. It was like after that, it was the same shit. And I don't get bored easy. But if I figured out what it is, that's just what the hell it is. Solve the puzzle. Let's move on to something more complex, and keep pressing that intellect a little bit more. So I don't know if it's there, it's there. Let have a bird. Where the bird man at? Get bird man. Like this wrench shit. Giving out wrenches is fun. There we go. That's the geek leap right there. Gonna be swinging the wrench at the wrecking crew. But that's it. I didn't even see the Joker DLC because I wasn't playing that. She looked like an old white lady. I think Spawn mixed. I have to go back and research that. I got a couple of issues with Spawn in my bag right now that I have to read along with this X-Men shit. And even if it's mixed, what fucking difference does that make? I mean, the dude who made up Spawn is a white dude, and I've actually, personally met Todd McFarlane and had a conversation with him, and I think the dude is ballsy and brilliant in an entrepreneurial sense because he did it. In the conversation I had with him, he was sitting up at the ImageCon 10, and he was giving this whole speech about being an entrepreneur and what you do when you see the cliff. You don't back away from it. You just run at the shit and figure out how to fly on the way down. And when I met him and took my picture and got my autograph from him and talked to him for a minute and whatnot, I told him that what he said was really profound. I really respected what he had to say. He said that's exactly what you have to do, man. Now, mind you, I've grown up on comics. I've drawn my own comic books or whatever. Todd McFarlane is one of those guys in my pantheon that I really respect. And I'm having a conversation with this dude, and we are having a straight up conversation about what it takes to make your own way. That you have to learn how to sacrifice to do the things that you specifically want to do. Now, if that white dude went back years later and made Spawn's parents mixed, what fucking difference does it make? It's his character. He can do what the hell he wants with it. I like the character for what it is. I didn't care and know his parentage beforehand. It never mattered to me. But in this age of identity politics, I'm sure somebody wanted that shit. It don't matter to me. I don't give a shit. In my real life, I got mixed cousins all over the fucking place. My family probably look like the damn United Nations. But that just goes to how black families will incorporate everybody. That's just how the shit works. But I'm in California. It may be different, somewhere in the South or whatnot. But my family is not homogenous. It's just not strictly one fucking thing. There's a lot of different stuff mixed in. And it has nothing to do necessarily with the person that comes out of that. Because if you like that person, does it matter what color their parents were? Or are you just looking for reasons to discount them and push them aside and not have to listen to them? It's like the dumbest thing to me. It don't matter to me, really. Have I finished the Powers of X stuff? Fort, no. You the reason. I'm telling you, Art of Fort, right now. You are the motherfucking reason I got a bag full of X-Men comics right now because I know you was going to hit me with that shit as soon as this thing went live. You was going to bug me about it. That's what it was going to be. And I'm sorry, I don't know what they doing with these damn X books, but they cranking these motherfuckers out like, they got rabbits out there making this shit because they're coming out way too damn quick for me. I mean, it don't seem like it's been a month. And here it is. I got, 5 issues of fucking New Mutants to read through today. I got 6 issues of X-Force to read through. 5 issues of Excalibur. 5 issues of X-Men. 1 issue of Wolverine. It's like, God damn, dude, I got other stuff I want to do today. I got some videos to cut, too. Like, shit. But, no, I'm going to catch up on that stuff just because I've been slacking on my comic reading. Just because I haven't been liking what I was seeing in the comics. And I don't know, they really bothered me with killing the Ultimates. That last book of Ultimates with Blue Marvel and Black Panther. Since then, I have not been feeling the whole comic thing. I've been peeking at different issues and whatnot, but it's been like, fuck y'all. I see what you're doing, and I'm not impressed. Bring back the shiny covers too, while you at it, because all this shit is some rehashed from the '90s, and not in a good way. So that's kind of being worrisome on me. Black men have strong genes. Yes, they do, Tom Malone. So you should never actually worry about um, what black sperm jumped out of what woman. Should never actually matter. If you got the dominant sperm, it's never an issue. You can get a black baby from a green chick. It wouldn't matter. What else we got there? Pick a hero, black Captain America. There is a black Captain America. There is a black Captain America. I'm not talking about Captain Falcon. You know, that was I was never really fully on board with Sam Wilson being Captain America. Yeah, it was a cool idea and concept, but it seemed like it was too much of pushing that social justice whining in that area because the stories they gave him were like low key just him dealing with some racist shit. It was nothing big. It was nothing major. It's like, ugh. And then he put the shield down and walked away like he was a fucking coward. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, come on, man. That's not what I'm looking for. But yes, Art of Force, the truth. That's exactly what I want to see. I'd love to see that. If they really wanted to, if the MCU really wanted to throw me a bone, make the truth into a real person, put him in the MCU. Um, Shit, they could use Kevin Gouveia for that shit. The big black dude in the underworld, the big werewolf. That's the dude that created Blue Marvel. He's smart as hell, and he's been acting for a while. They could put him in there and let him be the truth. That'd be cool. And then they can actually put Blue Marvel in there and let him be Wesley Snipes, not Wesley Snipes, but Denzel Washington or something. I don't know. That's just me. I'd love to see that shit. But yeah, the truth is that book. If you can find that, that's probably harder to find than Adam, the Blue Marvel book. I know where it's at in my shop, but I ain't telling nobody because if it turns into something, I'm going back and pulling it out of there. So I'm just saying, biblically, you're whatever your father is. Yeah, biblically, you are whatever your father is. Aquateki, do you think we'll get to see any more characters from Milestone Comics show up in DC books? Um, Possibly, but DC kind of uses those characters just so they don't have to use them. They have the rights to them, but they don't use them because if you remember last year about this time, Milestone was supposed to come out with their new books, and their new books were going to be kind of with more chicks and on some SJW shit. But the kibosh got put on that shit by Dwayne McDuffie's wife because they didn't get her permission for that shit. So last I heard, they was in some legal shit about that, and that's why those books never came out that year. But they were, I think it was Denny Cowan or whoever was all over the place promoting these books and these characters and what it was going to look like and all this shit, and never got her sign off on it for her husband's estate, and that was the end of that shit. So it hasn't come out. And so some of the stuff I was seeing, I'm kind of relieved it didn't because if they went the way it looked like they were going to go, I wouldn't want to see that shit at all. Never mind. I'll go back to my storage and get my Milestone books and just read through that and enjoy it. I'd love to see it, but understand that DC bought those characters so they can put them motherfuckers on the shelf and use them when they feel like it. Because they bought it, to be honest, they only bought the shit for Sonic. I mean, not Sonic, excuse me, for Static, because that's what was working. It had a cartoon, it was popular and stuff like that. But all the rest of that stuff they just put away. They use them here and there, and they take from them all the time. If you reading Black Lightning now and you think he all cool and shit like that, go back and read Static and see how they just ripped Static's powers from him and gave all that shit to Black Lightning, because that's a DC character. And all they did was start moving all those power sets and all that stuff that Static did over to Black Lightning and using it on him. and to me that's kind of fucked up because they're good characters and they resonate with their audience because they were, you know, made by black folks for the most part, you know, but it did have a nice crossover audience, but because of the way they bought it out and shelved it, you will never see them characters again. You won't. I would love to see a new Milestone Comics written by somebody who gave a shit about them and not trying to push some identity politics narrative because that'd be fun for me personally. It would just be fun for me. Individually, you might enjoy the shit too. It'd be fun for me because I love those characters. Hardware, Icon, Static, Rocket, Blood Syndicate, Static. Come on, man. That's that was good shit. When I made my comic book characters back in what 91, 92, one of the letters I sent out was to Milestone Comics because I wanted the characters that I created to go to Milestone Comics because they were multi-racial characters and I wanted them to be there. I thought they would be treated well there, you know. So, but they blew up, and that's what you got. You don't actually have them no more. So if they ever come back in a good way, I'd really appreciate that shit as a comic book fan. I'd read more comics on a regular basis. Art of Ford, do you think MCU will have a Young Avengers movie? They definitely gonna have a Young Avengers movie. That's the way they're going. This whole next phase, from the stuff that I've been seeing and listening to, is like the transition. It's the crossover phase, right? So they're back to setting up all of this stuff because they weren't doing the work ahead of time. And so they need to spend this next phase four setting up all the stuff for phase five, which is fine. I mean, it seems really far out, and I think as black people because we can get so short sighted at times that we think 10, 20 years is too far away to wait. Think about how fast this last 10 years flew by. That is like no time, you know. So they got to do the groundwork. They got to establish those other characters, which they kind of did in some places, like Ant Man's daughter and different stuff with Hawkeye's kids. It's there, okay. They can do it. It's just how they write it and how they put it in there, and what kind of wrapping gets thrown on top of that shit. That's the main thing. Is how you project this. And since they don't know what the audience is going to be, they're probably making their projections. But it'll probably happen because they want those young people to get into it. Problem is, a lot of these really young kids nowadays do not fucking read comics. They really don't. They only know it possibly from a comic book. I mean, a cartoon or whatnot, and that's good and that's bad because understand that the cartoon is always the chopped down version of whatever's going on in the comic because it's for television. And my worst or my most baneful fucking arguments with people is 20, 30 year olds who only grew up on a cartoon and want to argue with you from a point of a cartoon that this is the true story of a character, but have never read the comics, never actually went back to the source and read the source material to get their impression of the comic. Which I understand that's what the comics have to do to keep those characters alive and fresh, but every time you do that, you muddy the fucking water of what it actually is. And you get generational disputes between geeks on who is what and how something is and supposed to be. And everybody think they right that came behind you. And they're not really right. So Young Avengers movie, it may be interesting. I'm not that invested in a Young Avengers movie. I'd be more invested in a West Coast Avengers or something like that. But
There's enough stuff that they can do. They got the X-Men coming on board. You got Fantastic Four coming on board. If they do Fantastic Four right, it'll pay off for them. If you get the X-Men right and don't just play to the stereotype of what people want to see, which is one dude in claws and somebody using some psychic powers, then it'll be good. If they play on the strength of the X-Men, it'll be good. They can get a lot of movies out of it. But if it's all wrapped around Wolverine, you're gonna have a fucking problem. Because my main thing right now with Wolverine is that he is an interesting and complex character, but I'm tired of seeing him pop his fucking claws every fucking time. This is the part that bothers me. This dude is like, I forget how much he actually weighs, but he basically heavy as fuck, and he's trained. Popping his claws should be the last thing he has to do. He should be able to hit somebody and just crack their shit because he's that damn heavy, and he knows how to fight. He's trained multiple times over decades. So why is that the first go to? It's like everybody knows who this character is. He should. That's the last thing you should have to do. If you're reading a comic and Wolverine's in the comic, and these people know Wolverine and have a beef with him, he shouldn't even have to pull his claws. He shouldn't. They know who the hell he is. They know what he's capable of. That should be the last thing. That should be like, okay, you push me to the max, and then like Super Saiyan. Now I pull the claws out on you. But before then, I hit you with everything else. That's just the thing with me. I know that's what sells, but it's like that should be the last thing. But I don't know what you got, Art. What is the next big bad for the next saga you will see? The next big bad. Me personally, I don't know what they have planned for that. I heard something that they were thinking about Kang the Conqueror because he does this time travel and stuff. But the way they're going with going everything out into space, I would love Annihilus. I'd love to see Annihilus come from the fucking negative zone and do that whole Annihilation Wave story so I can get Richard Rider in that bitch going ham. I would love that shit. That shit would be awesome. If you ever read that damn story, that's some shit going on out in space. And I was happy when they introduced Thor because it got you further into going out into space in Marvel. And then when they got the Guardians of the Galaxy, that took you further out into space, so you can get all those spacefaring people. I want to see that shit go further. You got the Nova Corps sort of in the Guardians. All right, fine, whatever. But it's some more powerful people out there in the universe, and seeing how powerful those people are gives you a context to how powerful or how much heart the people here on Earth have. Because trust and believe, Captain America been in space a bunch of times fighting people. Captain America is just peak human, borderline superhuman on Earth. He got in space with things that can whoop the Hulk's ass. He got to have a pair of balls behind that shield. They coming in a dump truck behind him because that takes some heart, and that's I like to see that power scale dynamic. That some of these people out there are just normally base strong as fuck, like Hulk strong, just off top. And when you're going up against somebody like that, you have to be smarter. Yeah, you can fight, but you got to be smarter too. But I'm a big fan of Richard Rider Nova, so I'd love to see Nova. Nova would be like boss because all that shit they doing with Captain Marvel is ripping off Nova. Captain Marvel's never that damn important. And whereas I might like her in the comic books, what I saw on screen was not that comic book Captain Marvel. It wasn't. That is not who the hell that was. Um, I know what they say it was, but like this Wesley Snipes quote, you can put a cat in the oven, but that don't make it a biscuit. Just make it a dead ass cat. So you can call it Captain Marvel all you want to. That's Captain Mary Sue and Captain Marvel. But a lot of the stuff that they did is straight Richard Rider Nova stuff and the Nova Corps. and that's what you should be seeing in the MCU. And I think because Captain Marvel did so poorly with the fans, that you will see that come back around because you'll see that some people's behind the scenes or test footage and stuff, they've been trying out that Nova shit. They've been trying to go for it, but I don't know. Just go for it. Give me Annihilus. Let's do the Annihilation story, and let me get my geekgasm off on that. That'd be awesome. That'd be good. You know, because sooner or later the stuff has to peter out, and that's just the cynic in me. Is that it has to peter out. That's just the way of things. Like I was saying before, it comes in waves. So it'll come and it'll go. It has to have an ebb and it has to have a flow. This is a high for comic book movies now. Since I'm an old geek, I remember where they were shitty as fuck and you didn't really even want to watch them. If you watched it, you had to, qualify that shit on why you even watched it. Because it wasn't considered, fine cinema or a blockbuster movie. It was something that you actually had to love and watch. That was an ebb. The 10 years from Marvel is a peak. That's the flow. That's a high. It has to come down from there. It can't stay up there forever. It's like a drug high. You ain't gonna be high forever. You gotta come down sometimes. So you gotta go through, this phase 4 kind of lull. It's fine. As long as phase 5 gets back to a peak, then we good. but it has to drop down to a normal rate so you can build back up again to that peak. Hopefully by that time DC will have their shit together and get back somewhere. Possibly. Maybe, I don't know. They ain't had a lot of years to get this shit right and they still not. So they hit and miss. So we'll see what happens with that shit. But yeah, Nova would be great. Annihilus would be a big bad I see in all this space stuff that they're doing. Kane and Conqueror would be kind of awesome, but American audiences get lost on time travel. You can see it anytime it happens in a movie that has some intellectual ideas on time travel. People get all twisted up in their head about how that shit works and stuff like that and don't like it because I think our American audiences and substances are dumb as fuck. And they play to us in that way because some people don't understand some concepts. The movie ends up tanking not because it was a shitty movie. It's just that motherfuckers didn't get it. Peace, Aquatechy. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate that, man. Respect your stuff. Don't run. Just walk, man. Be sure to tip your waitress. What the fuck? I'm about an hour into this shit. That's a trip. I heard that Rogue will be in Captain Marvel 2. Do you think they'll put her in there to depower Captain Marvel? Come on, Arthur Fort. Come on, man. What reason in the world would there be for Rogue to be in a Captain Marvel movie other than to depower her ass and get Brie Larson out of there? Come on, dude. That was the behind the scenes things I heard that they were trying to get rid of Brie Larson. Get out of that contract and get rid of her ass and recast her with somebody else. I'm like, yes, please. Please do. I mean, they recast James Rhodes and it wasn't a problem. I like Don Cheadle. He's a little older than I'm forgetting his name now. I keep wanting to call him DJ. But they recast him. It wasn't a problem. Shit, they can recast her. I don't give a shit. Get her out of there. You get a different director. you know, that'd be fine. Rogue would be awesome. A recast of the Hulk. I'll get to that in a minute. Thing on Rogue. Let me finish this Rogue part. Thank you, Terrence Howard. Rogue being in there is a good way to introduce another X-Man into an established movie and give her power set that she's most known for, and then lead into a Phase 5 X-Men. Because just like having, Black Panther show up in a Captain America movie, when he got his own movie, it wasn't a surprise because you already got an understanding of who this character is, what he's capable of, how he get down. When he had his own movie, bet you just off and running. No origin, just straight story, which I enjoy. Rogue being in a Captain Marvel movie, yes. Have her take those powers, please. She can do so much better with them. That version of Rogue is one of the ones I like more than the Extreme X-Men version, who had access to all those powers at the same time, and that was some beast ass shit. That was just beast. Super strength and optic blasting motherfuckers while you freezing this other dude with your other hand. Like, come on, man, that's ridiculous. That's some fun shit. So yes, Rogue would be cool. A recast of the Hulk? No, you don't need it. I mean, I heard that Marvel got the rights back or got a partnership deal with Universal so they can do Hulk movies again. And I like Mark Ruffalo. I like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. I know everybody is disappointed with the Hulk not, showing up and showing out in Endgame, but that would have overpowered the whole movie. That's something for a Hulk movie, I would think. So because Marvel Disney is working out this deal with Universal, so they can go back to making Hulk movies again, Hulk solo movies, you'll probably get a lot more, and they'll probably get a lot more push behind it because they're trying to develop that She-Hulk and Red Hulk shit. So you got, Thunderbolt Ross in the Black Widow movie, which is rumored he might be turning into the Red Hulk and that shit. And then you got the She-Hulk movie coming on Disney Plus, which means you have to get some kind of connection to her with the MCU Hulk, which is all the same universe thing. They're just taking that same formula that they had on Netflix and doing it on Disney Plus, so they can have those characters interact with each other. And a new Hulk movie would help to establish some of that stuff. If you have a new Hulk movie and it's decent, you can go right into a Disney Plus show with She-Hulk, and then whatever happens with Thunderbolt Ross in the Black Widow movie, you can see that carrying over into a Hulk movie or a She-Hulk TV show. It's fine. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It would actually be awesome if they did that shit and they could get it right. But man, what I got? 15 watching, 7 likes. Man, hit the like button. It's only like 80 y'all that need to hit it. So hit that shit. Um, I have a video on She-Hulk and who I think would be great to play her. Gina Carano. That's who would be great to play She-Hulk, Gina Carano. Because you already saw her, how big she is now in The Mandalorian. She's a big chick. You pay her green and let her act. I got 22. I need to update. I need to refresh that. But yeah, you could get her to do it. I know Disney likes using people in multiple things, so shit, using her in that. Why not? She can cash 2 checks. Why the hell not? She already on staff. They already got her, contracted to do some stuff. I don't think she's gonna be in every season of The Mandalorian. You know, she can leave for a season, do She-Hulk, and come back and play Cardoon. Why the hell not? She's been acting for a while. Let her do some shit. And it's on Disney Plus, so it's not like who the fuck was Pablo Pascal or Pedro Pascal before he was doing The Mandalorian. Nobody gave a shit really. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. I knew who he was, but he wasn't the lead. He wasn't. So fuck it. She can be somewhere. Let her do that shit. Who you think, Arthur Ford? Who would you cast in that role? That's what I want to know. Since you asked me the damn question. Who would you cast in that role? Don't say nothing goofy, like Miley Cyrus or some bullshit like that. It's bad enough. I like Natalie Portman, but I want to see who they pull off to be this female Thor. Who they gonna pull out their ass for that? She a brick shy of 100 pounds. So, what's your take on the DCEU? Because it's a little pushback on my video on a hard reset. Beyonce. Noostel, you must still be sick, Art Noostel. Stupid Beyonce. No, she can be Red She-Hulk. Don't be teasing the video for it. Just drop the video. God damn, man. You worse than I am. I know you got the skills and the tech stuff so you can get it done quick. Just drop it. A little pushback on the DCEU having a hard reset. I can tell you just from being a comic fan, I can tell you that people are burnt out on resets. Okay, every time somebody talks about a reboot or something like that, it gets a damn groan. Cause come on, man. Yes, it's a tactic, but you can't keep doing that shit every 5 years. You can't keep doing that every 5 years. You're wearing this shit out. Like George Lucas innovated that shit when he did it for the prequels, right? Which is fine. Yes, you can do it if you want to do something else, but everything does not need to get rebooted every 5 fucking years. Just fix what you did and move forward. That's it. Actors change all the time. Doctor Who had, I don't know, 13 different actors. It's still the same show, still about the same character. They just changed the actor and they wrote the shit in there so you understand why the actor changes. That was genius. How long has that show been going on? Shit, it's been. I remember when it was black and white. Come on, man. It can't be this fucking hard. These people just don't try. That's one of the things we always bitching about, at least in the shop, with the comics and stuff, is about these writers being fucking lazy. You can't tell me you're a creative person and you want to write, and then you can't think of anything creative outside of doing the same rehash shit that's already been done. That's not creative. Use your fucking brain. I know this generation behind us is like bereft of fucking creativity because it's been stifled in them for so many goddamn years. But shit, plug into something, figure it out. Just give me something original. So no, I don't need a reboot of that shit. They don't even have to try to walk away from the shame of the JLA. Just live with it and move on. Yeah, that was the JLA. We're doing the JLA too. And look, this is the new lineup. Done deal. Batman can be different. You can have Robert Pattinson come in and be Batman. I was like, why is he younger? Whatever the fuck, dude. Infinity Crisis. you know, they just had it on the WB with all their characters and with the Arrowverse. Seemed to pull that shit off without a problem. Just use that. Use that as a way. Everybody already assumed that about DC anyway. So just go with it. Stop, run your race and do your thing. Just quit it. I don't know. It seems to me they make the shit way overcomplicated, and too much for most people to actually fucking take. And it doesn't need to be all that shit. It doesn't. What the fuck? Oh, Angry got a stream up. I might have to catch the Angry Man. So I was thinking of doing a reset with Flashpoint. Flashpoint is a good spot to do a reset. You can I think it was Jeff Johns who wrote that story. You can thank him for giving them a good point that they can make anything new happen. I think that's what happens with comics sometimes is that things get stagnated because you go in so many directions, but at some point you need a new catalyst, a new jumping off point for what's going on. And yeah, the Flashpoint is a good place to do it, but everything can't keep running back to fucking Flashpoint. Pun intended. Can't. Just start it. If you're gonna take it from Flashpoint, do that and let it be done with it and move forward. Then you can have Robert Pattinson and the new JLA all show up, and that just be the way it is. But do something. Get some actors that are signing multi-picture deals and actually stay there for multiple fucking pictures. You know, I think DC hit on something when they start doing the black label stuff. Obviously, Joker went over exceedingly well, better than anybody fucking expected. Even me, I was totally turned around on that shit. And if that's the vein they want to go into, it might be okay. But that was a director and an actor doing their thing, and not the studio being involved with how they were doing it. So I don't know if you could replicate that in every fucking franchise, but I guess we'll see with this the Batman with Glitter Bat. We'll just see what it is. Other than that, you won't know. But thank you guys for showing up. About a minute, what, an hour, 15 minutes into this shit. That's pretty good. Glitterbat. Yeah, that's my name. That's my trademark for him, Glitterbat. It's not that I have any hate for Robert Pattinson or anything like that. I just think it's well, absolutely. If you didn't make that parallel the minute he said he was going to be Batman, I don't know what else. It's like, why did they pick him to be Batman? Because he was the glittering vampire? Come on, man. Those Twilight vampires did everything else except turn into fucking bats. And Robert Pattinson is the only character that I've seen that they picked to be Batman. So technically, he turned into a bat. Glitter Bat will be in Gotham. Rather with the Catwoman. So, I don't know. But I'm going to get out of here now. I thank you guys for coming through and bearing with me through my technical issues. Hopefully, I'll work that out. This will possibly be a once a week thing. But I just jump on and do a little shop talk with you guys and talk about some shit that I got on my mind. But it's called a shop talk, but it's open. Okay, it's open. It's not just on comic book stuff. It's just geek culture life. That's all it is with me. So skin and bones, starving bat. Yeah, pretty much. The vegetarian bats. You know, they're not even fruit bats. They vegan bats. They only suck tofu and shit. Soy bat. Shit. But let me get out of here because I want to see what the angry man got to say. And thank you guys for coming through. Drop a like, spend some time with me. Support the channel if you want to. If not, I do appreciate the likes. And I'll see you guys next time. Probably same time next week. Peace.